promise to add the captions after the fact, and post it to, and get a link out to those who want to review with captions.
Sure. There might be a section where we might need to pause the recording, Bill. I'm not sure if what you've got necessarily planned, but we'll give you or depending upon Bill, what you interject. I know you don't have anything planned for the call. The worried look on your face. So we'll definitely give notice if there is something then where we should pause the recording.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can go ahead and get started, Teresa.
All right, let's jump right in. Again, happy Friday, TGIF. For those of you I haven't met yet, my name is Teresa Jenkins, and I am an engagement manager with Workday. I brought along likely some folks that you do recognize and you do know, the Workday consultants who have been heads down with you all in the weeds these last couple of months, working on data, getting your foundation data ready, putting together workbooks, all of those fun tasks and activities that you've been doing that have led us to today. So that's great news. So all the hard work that you have been doing, you're going to see the fruits of your labor now. So the goal of today is just to give a brief overview. I know there's been a variety of communications that have already come out about architect playback sessions. The consultants have likely talked about these sessions with you as well in your weekly meetings. This is just going to give another overview and really just to kick it off, because this is super exciting. Actually, I know you may not be thinking that yet, but hopefully after this call, you might be a little bit more excited about it. So let's go through here.
And real quick, Teresa,
Yeah,
will you be able to send this presentation out to me by chance, or to us?
yeah, absolutely.
Route it out
Yeah.
to everyone. Okay, perfect.
Yep. Great. So architect playback sessions, when do they occur? You can see the little arrow there. I didn't do the timing just right. But the great news is in this project, we're going through essentially 5 very distinct phases of the project with very specific activities that are planned within each of those stages. So the great news is we are through the plan stage of the project. So 1 down, 4 to go. All of the work that you did. So we did some project startup activities. A lot of you, if not all of you, have been through some of the Workday training. We've got a project plan together. But more importantly for you all is we have a foundation tenant built that we're going to be doing these architect playback sessions in. So congratulations on completing the plan stage of the project, of the deployment for Workday. That's great. That's a pat on the back, because that was a lot of work for everybody. So these architect playback sessions, they happen during the architect phase. We're also going to be building another tenant. It's called a configuration and prototype tenant afterwards. So still a lot more work to be done in this architect phase of the project, but this is where we are right now. And as I go through here, I'm not going to go through each of these tasks individually, just to give you a high level of the things that we are going to be working on as we move forward. So in the configure and prototype stage, we're going to be doing what's called customer confirmation sessions, which is really an opportunity for you, the school resource, the one working on all of this, to have your hands in the application and demo it to your colleagues. So that's what a customer confirmation on a very high level is. Going to be building all of the reports, all of the integrations, coming up with in-user training plans that Mindy and Trish and those teams have been working on, and then prepare to do quite a bit of testing as we go through. So the first step of testing is what we call unit testing. Then we're going to do an end-to-end tenant testing, as well as payroll testing as well. So lots of things to to do over the next 8-9 months, and then officially deploy the application come December. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the Architect Playback sessions. So this really is the consultant that you've been working with on a weekly basis. You may have seen some of your data in the tenant already, because I know we've been loading data for the last few weeks. So this really is, though, going to be your first introduction into the foundation tenant. We're going to be able to get your hands in it, so that way you can log in and start clicking around and seeing how things work within the tenant. So this will be a good intro into how things work. As you go through these playback sessions, though, the consultant is going to be walking through the business processes, literally from A to Z, for whatever that functional area is, so that you get a really good view and a really good understanding of how the system is configured, based upon all of the work that the first 4 schools did, those Wave 1 schools, and the decisions that were made by those 4 schools in alignment with also Workday best practices. So you're going to be able to see that firsthand in how your data is interacting with those business processes that are already developed. You'll also have an opportunity during these sessions to talk about those business processes. I know a variety of things have already come up in some working sessions, like cost codes, simple things like cost codes. Hey, we need to add more cost codes because what's in the system does not satisfy our needs, right? That's gone to the larger group with the other 4 schools to have those conversations. So as you're going through there, the consultant will talk to you about, hey, this is what we can do to make this more specific for your school. So there's different condition rules we can put on the business processes that says, like, if Luna, then do this XYZ. So lots of conditions, lots of different steps we can add on to the existing business rules, and the consultant will work with you on all of those items. This is also your time to validate the data that came through. So all of the information that you put on the workbooks that you've been working with the consultants and your wonderful data conversion specialist, Bill Vasquez, has been pushing into that tenant for you. This is really an opportunity to see how it looks, right? Did it come through correctly? Does it make sense? So really an opportunity for you to see why we keep asking you for the information that we ask. That way you can see it in action. They are consultant-led sessions, but we are going to ask you for a lot of participation as well. We'll get to that in a minute. But really, again, for Luna and San Juan to see all of the features and functionality that are configured. That way you can start talking to your colleagues and the broader group, the folks that are going to be using this system, like, hey, this is how it's going to work. It's going to be fantastic. And rather than you having to go to 3 different places to do this one thing, you're just going to go to Workday, and it's going to be very seamless for you. So really an opportunity for you to see what the application can do. And also a time to gather those additional requirements that might be specific to your institution. Lots going on with these sessions, but there are a few things that these sessions are not. This is not the time for a full design session. The application is already configured, so there's really not anything to design necessarily. There's nothing to architect with the system. It really is, this is just how it is configured. This is what you're going to be adopting. Yes, let's make sure that we can get your business requirements in there, whatever conditions, steps, etc. that need to get added in. Happy to do that. But it's not a full design and altering the business processes. Because remember, this application is already in production and working for 4 schools. It's also not a training session. You might say, well, what happens if I click here? What happens if we do this? There's going to be lots of opportunity for training as well as knowledge transfer as we go through here. The consultants have worked really hard to put together the agendas for the sessions to make sure that they go through the full process with you, review, demo the product, look at the business processes, show you the delivered reports that come for your particular area. So really just give you a good overall foundation in the foundation tenant for how the application works with your data. All right, so what we're going to be asking of you is make sure that we've got the right users, participating in the sessions. I know Sarah and Sarah have been working really, really hard to get all of these sessions scheduled. That was a feat in itself that they were able to accomplish. So great work for them, because I know it's difficult to manage all of the different sessions that are going to be held over the next 2.5, 3-ish weeks or so. But we do want to make sure that the folks that are there have the business knowledge, in order to have some really good discussions about what you're going to be seeing within the application. So knowledge of the different business roles within your institution, knowledge of the business processes within the institution. We always recommend, if possible, to have everyone on site in the same room. I know the Workday consultant is going to be via Zoom, but if possible, if you can get to the school and be in a conference room, have that whole group together, that definitely facilitates really good conversations about what you're going to be going through with the consultant. So if it's possible, totally understand. In these days of lots of folks working from home and that flex work, but I would highly recommend getting as many people in the same room as possible to have that really good spirited discussions about what you're going to be seeing. Be ready to participate. This is interactive. Yes, it's going to be consultant led, but they're going to be talking to you about a number of things. They're going to be asking questions. They're going to be just really checking in with you just to make sure of what you're seeing and is it making sense for you. So please be prepared to participate. And we all have heard it, especially you guys in higher ed, that there are no dumb questions. There really are no dumb questions. You cannot ask that. It's just impossible. This is a brand new application for you. You are not expected to have a full understanding of anything. So we really want you to ask those questions. Workday consultants get more concerned when there's silence versus a lot of questions, even if it's the same question, 3 different times, because we all learn differently. So please don't hesitate, speak up. Make sure that you understand what the consultant is going through, because this is going to definitely lay the foundation for all of the next steps of the project. So, and Sarah, who are going to be participating in all of those sessions as well, they're going to be capturing feedback in those things. So items like any decision points that need to be made or are made during the session, any action items that come up, any questions that maybe during that session it's not the right time, or we might need to gather more information in order to answer those questions. So they're going to be keeping track of that, taking those notes as they go through. The consultant might even say, hey, Sarah, hey, can you jot that down for me so that way we can revisit it? So those things like parking lot items, all of those things, Sarah Martinez and Sarah McCartney are going to be capturing for those sessions as well. So lots of hard work that they have to do with that. All right. And as we just touched on, there will be a lot of follow-up from this. So we're going to collect and compile all of that feedback. All of that is going to be monitored also by Mindy and Trish's team, the change management and training teams, as well as the Workday change management folks, just to make sure that all of the feedback, the things that they're hearing, any questions, any concerns, that get raised during these sessions, that they are going to be addressed after the sessions, just to make sure that everyone is super comfortable moving forward. So we are also going to document the key decisions made during the session, as I just mentioned, and we will definitely communicate the responses to feedback back at you. So again, any open items, they will get addressed. That way you have all the information that you need moving forward. That's essentially it for the kickoff. Bill, did you want to add a couple of things to this?
Looking for my unmute button. Yes, thank you. Just really briefly, I wanted to talk about the data that you guys are going to see in the tenant. We're going to be having some kickoff meetings for our upcoming builds. So before each build, we have a full kickoff meeting. And that's going to be my chance to really talk to you guys about how the build process works. But there is an element of that we wanted to bring up on this meeting. And that's just to talk about how we convert your data. So when you go into these meetings, you're going to see data in the tenant that is from your school. That's what we collected during this foundation build. That is another item that if on Teresa's list, she had the things that you don't want to do, we don't have to worry about correcting that data in this series of sessions. That's a snapshot of your workers that we took so that you guys had workers in the system. So you won't want to worry about correcting that, because every time we do a new build, we're going to take a new snapshot of your workers so that you guys aren't having to manage workers in the tenant. That's why we've started these config mapping sessions that so many of you guys have participated on. Thank you in advance for participating. That's our chance to define what that snapshot means. So we're saying, you know, we think based on this value in your legacy data that this is the hire date. What we would like you guys to watch as you go through these architect playback sessions and see your data is whether we got that transformation right. So if you see that something's wrong, well, we got this date for all of these values for these workers, but it really should have been this. We can take that back, get it to your data conversion teams, your Tracy's, your Denise's, and we can always change that definition. We're changing how we take the snapshot, but you don't have to worry about correcting those workers in the tenant. Don't worry about that data. Your Workday functional consultants will use it to demonstrate things, so we can always change it, but it's not the final data. We're going to be doing that at least 3 more times before we go live.
Great. Thanks, Bill.
You bet.
I see a question in the chat, Greg. Yes, all of those sessions are documented in a couple of different places. If you do have access to the CHESS Global Calendar, all of those sessions are in the calendar. You're shaking your head now. Sarah McCartney, I think you are also keeping a spreadsheet in Teams, maybe, or maybe it's on the SharePoint that folks might be able to have access to see when all the sessions are scheduled.
That is correct. And I just mentioned to Greg that I will send that to him and send it out to everyone. Absolutely.
Okay, great. Any questions about what's going to be happening over the next 2.5 weeks? 2.5 to 3 weeks. This is a really exciting step in the process for you to see your own data, even if it is a little incorrect, as Bill mentioned. But this is great news that we made it through the plan stage. We are now on the architect stage, and congratulations. Good luck with everything over the next 2.5 weeks. Looking forward to listening in on some of the sessions and hearing your feedback.
Perfect. Now, one of the other things that I've been talking with the team about, and they've been kind of asking, do they need to prepare for anything before these sessions start up? Or, a lot of them already have their workbooks completed or in progress, but they're also wondering, is there other things that they need to make sure that they have coming to the table if needed?
Yeah, I think there are still a couple of open things that those particular functional areas are working with their consultants on. So if you already know that, then that's all there is. There's nothing new that's going to be sprung on you,
Okay.
you know, before the session, in terms of what you need to come with. So those functional areas that are still working on some data, still working on information to get to the functional consultants, you already know about that. So there won't be anything new coming. So definitely bring your energy, bring your enthusiasm, bring your willingness to participate. That's what we would ask of you during all of the sessions. And I know many of you are going to be sitting in on a lot of the sessions. It's going to be a lot of information coming at you. So again, don't hesitate to ask questions. It's going to be a lot of information for you as you go through.
Okay.
Anything else? Great. Well, enjoy Friday, enjoy the weekend, and looking forward to our Architect Playback session starting on Monday. Thanks, everyone.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.